When we die, we are all buried under the land. Land is emotive. Majority of people have been killed because of land. Disputes within the family. People who share the same blood cannot see each other eye to eye because of land. Everybody who has a job, if you have not bought land, then you are seen to be a failure. Marriage was centered on land. Wives could come to inherit the land. Upon death, disputes of succession is about land. You write an agreement that you are going to buy land. You pay this person. You go to the diaspora. He decides, he gets somebody who has more money. He sells this land to another person. And he tells you, I want to refund your money. Because you paid 2 million. A Chinese person has come who has given that same land 10 million. So he says, take your 2 million, I'll add you 500,000. The court can order specific performance that you be given the land that you entered into a sale agreement. Welcome to Court Helicopter Explainer. This is a series about land. We did series about the Constitution of Kenya. We did 26 episodes dealing with the Constitution of Kenya. You can get the whole Constitution of Kenya. Kenyans have been asking, when shall we do the series about land? It is a very emotive question. The Land Act is a very, very important act. Everybody has land. Land is very critical. We eat food that comes out of land. We live where we stay. Any building, whether it's a skyscraper, whether it is an apartment, whether it's a down, it is put on land. When we die, we are all buried under the land. Land is emotive. Majority of people have been killed because of land. Disputes within the family. People who share the same blood cannot see each other eye to eye because of land. Everybody who has a job, if you have not bought land, then you are seen to be a failure. Marriage was centered on land. Wives could come to inherit the land. Upon death, disputes of succession is about land. So we shall be having a total of 28 episodes from series number 1 to 28 about land. This will take us at least 1 full month. On every weekend, we shall be dealing with the question of land. So start from series 1 up to series number 28. Welcome. This was a research on land by Cyrus. We will be dealing with the land in the Land Act and the related acts of land. Let us start with the first question about land. Where is the basis in the Constitution on the question of the courts that deal with the question of land? Article 162 of the Constitution, and that is Article 162, 2 says, that is, the superior courts are the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, and courts referred to in Clause 2. Clause 2, Parliament shall establish courts with the status of the High Court to hear and determine disputes relating to the environment and use and the use and occupation of title to land. So, out of the constitutional provision, we have now what is called the Environment and Land Court Act. This is Cap 8D. This is the law that creates the Environment and Land Court Act. What is the jurisdiction of the Land Court Act? It is found in Section 13 of the jurisdiction of this Act. What is the Land Court supposed to decide? 1. The court shall have original and appellate jurisdiction to hear and determine all disputes in accordance with Article 162B of the Constitution and with the provisions of this Act or any other law applicable in Kenya relating to the environment and land. All matters related to land and environment shall only be heard by an Environment and Land Court Act. What are these matters? A. Any planning, environmental planning, protection, climate issues, land use planning, title tenure, boundaries, the rates, rents, valuations, mining, minerals, and any other natural resources. That is the jurisdiction of this court. 2. It deals with compulsory acquisition. 3. It deals with the land administration and management. Any issue at the lands registry falls under the court called ELC court. D. It deals with public, private, and community lands. All public, private, and community land. It deals with contracts, choices in action, or other instruments granting any enforceable interest in land. Any contract, any agreement, any document dealing with land, the Environment and Land Court is in charge. Then lastly, any other dispute relating to the environment and land. And the court give, if you go to court for the Environment and Land Court, 1, the court can issue an interim or permanent preservation order, including injunctions. So the court can stop what is being done until it hears this matter. The court can tell you, stop it. 2, the court can issue interim orders. Number 2, the court can give what is called prerogative orders. Any discretional order the court wants, it can give you, or it can give against you. C, it can award damages. For example, if Cyrus constructed his house on my land and the court finds out that that land belongs to Omari, it can give Omari damages. D, the court can give compensation. E, it can give an order for specific performance. What is specific performance? You go, you write an agreement. For example, very many Kenyans are in this group. You write an agreement that you are going to buy land. You pay this person. You go to the diaspora. He decides, he gets somebody who has more money. He sells this land to another person. And he tells you, I want to refund your money. Because you paid 2 million. a Chinese person has come who has given that same land 10 million. So he says, take your 2 million, I'll add you 500,000. The court can order specific performance that you be given the land that you entered into a sale agreement. The court can restitute, return to you what had been taken, and the court can make a declaration. And lastly, it can award costs. How does this court operate? We have two layers of the courts. We have the Chief Magistrates Courts. These are courts that deal with matters that fall under land. ELC court is found in two layers. In the Chief Magistrates Court, you can go to that court. There are 5 different layers at the Magistrates Court that deal with land and environment. We have the resident magistrate. That is the lowest court in a magistrate's court. If your land is below 5 million shillings, the court to go to is a resident magistrate. If your land is below 7 million, then you go to a senior resident magistrate's court. If your land is below 10 million shillings, that case can be heard by a principal magistrate. If your land is below 15 million shillings, then the court that can hear you is called a senior principal magistrate. And if your land is not more than 20 million shillings, a chief magistrate will hear that matter. You have heard. This is what is called pecuniary jurisdiction. You don't take land of 20,000, the value of 20,000 to the High Court. Only land above 20 million, the dispute, the value of that land is above 20 million, goes to the High Court, what is called the Environment and Land Court at the High Court. Then we have the High Court is an appellate court for the matters that come from the Magistrates Court. Any decision from the Magistrates Court can be challenged at the Environment and Land Court, the High Court. But also we have tribunals that deal with the question of land. Do you know the tribunals that deal with the question of land? These are the tribunals. There is the National Land Commission. This is a tribunal within the National Land Commission. There is the Business Premises Rent Tribunal. There is the National Environment Tribunal, NEMA, Environment Issues. Then there is a Cooperative Tribunal if the question is about land owned by cooperative circles. All these ones, from the tribunals, you go to appeal at the High Court. From the Magistrates Court, you go to appeal at the High Court. The High Court has powers similar to other High Courts. We have the High Court, we have the Employment and Labor Court, and we have the Environment and Labor Court. Currently, there are more than 37 Environment and Land Court stations in this country. So you know where to take your matter whenever there is a dispute. We have laid the basis of this issue. The High Court has no pecuniary jurisdiction. What I mean, whether your property is $1 trillion amount dollars or 1 billion Kenya shillings, the High Court can hear this matter and determine this matter. If you are dissatisfied From the High Court, you move to the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal is not the final question about land matters. But if the question is about the application of the law and facts, the Court of Appeal's decision is final. But still, if you raise a novel issue, if you raise serious constitutional issue that can warrant the question about land and the environment going to the Supreme Court. For example, we have one matter called the Dina case that went to the Supreme Court on the question about the root title. And the Supreme Court has pronounced itself that now ownership of land, you need to do what is called a root search. The jurisdiction of the Magistrates Court to hear environment and land cases was tested in the Environment and Land Court at Eldoret, miscellaneous application number E004 of 2025. C.K. Yano judge gave a judgment in April 24th, 2025. This is a case between Zendera Kiplagat Biwot and Margaret Chemtai Kangogo and Kanika Nditini Amin and William Kemei Tanui. The judge found out that in paragraph 21, the jurisdiction of magistrates over land dispute is further defined at section 9A of the Magistrates Court Act as follows. 9. Claims the Magistrates Court shall exercise the jurisdiction conferred upon it by section 26 of the Environment and Land Court Act and subject to the pecuniary limits under section 7.1 here and determining claims relating to 1. Environmental planning and protection, climate issues, land use planning, title, tenure, boundaries, rates, rents, valuations, mining, minerals, and other natural resources. 2. The magistrate has jurisdiction to hear compulsory acquisition of land. 3. Land administration and management. 4. Public, private, and community land and contracts, choices in action or other instruments granting any enforceable instruments in land. Lastly, environment and land generally. And therefore, the judge made the final orders. And these were the final orders of the judge where a person who was challenging whether a magistrate has jurisdiction in paragraph 46. Consequently, the application dated 17th January 2025 is devoid of merit and the same is dismissed with costs to the respondent. Orders accordingly signed and delivered virtually at Eldoret on this 24th day of April 2025. Judge C.K. Yano, ELC judge. So this is the authority that now confirms that magistrates have jurisdiction to hear land cases. So let nobody cheat you that only the High Court has jurisdiction to hear this matter. Wakili Danstan Omari has laid the basis for the 28th episodes of Land, and today this is the first episode where we have laid the basis for land. Keep watching as we move to episode 2 of the Land Act. Asante.